One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on 2 wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only so can be restored. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Wrestling mayhem will never die. Rituals reporting pace his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Man, oh man, do we have a lot to discuss this morning. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves and having a wonderful Whip 'em Out Wednesday morning. I definitely know that we are so far. So everybody, our title for today is Trump extends Iran ceasefire, as well as FBI probes missing scientists, as well as Vance and Pakistan talks. So I believe that they're going to be doing that whole thing with Pakistan here in the very, very near future, by the way. So we have a lot to discuss, a lot of things that are in the media that aren't necessarily being portrayed correctly. We're used to that shit here. But let me go ahead and give you guys the chronological breakdown of what we're going to be looking at. We have a lot to discuss, actually. Majority of today's show actually happened yesterday. So just for transparency, there was a lot of shit that happened yesterday. So we're going to be covering a lot of that. So we have Democratic Representative Sheila McCormick of Florida resigns amid ethics probe. So that's a big deal right there. It says, is resigning from Congress effective immediately rather than formally disciplined by the House as part of an ethics investigation into her use of campaign funds? Explaining her decision is an extended social media statement Tuesday. The Florida Democrat decried, I think that's what it says, the internal investigation process as unfair. She said the House committee denied her and her new attorney adequate time to prepare a defense. Wow, lots going on. And then we have Trump announces the ceasefire extension with Iran. That happened yesterday. President Donald Trump on Tuesday announced he is extending the ceasefire with Iran. The announcement comes ahead of Wednesday's deadline. Now, as you guys remember, yesterday we were reporting on what Trump had said. He said, definitely not going to happen. Doesn't look like it's going to happen at all in the aspect of him considering extending the deadline. And it's interesting because he said he wouldn't consider it, and here we are on an extension now. We also have some interesting developments regards to Kash Patel. Kash Patel actually responds to his drinking allegations that are being thrown at him, as well as clashes with reporters during that exact clip. But we also have the entire clip of Blanche and Patel announce federal fraud charges against Southern Poverty Law Center. That's actually what this whole thing really was about, the press conference. But, of course, naturally, it's going to get into the questions of Kash Patel and his drinking. Then we have President Trump extends Iran ceasefire and blockade, it says. So let's see what it says here on this one. In a post on Truth Social, Trump explained he agreed to extend the ceasefire as Iran comes up with a unified proposal for the ongoing peace talks. He attributed the decision to fractures among Iranian leadership and said it comes at the request of the leadership in Pakistan, which is mediating the negotiations. And yes, Trump has shown a lot of love and care and concern to the Pakistanis lately for sure as well. Then we have ceasefire extended, obviously, like I just said. Trump directs U.S. military to, quote, remain ready. Yes. Now, the ceasefire extension is kind of indefinite, by the way. There is no time limit. There is no like, hey, it's 2 more weeks or a week from now or 10 days from now. It's indefinite, actually. So we really don't know what may happen from that. Trump supports Spirit Airlines buyout, but doesn't like the United American merger. So I'm not really sure what's going on right there, in particular with these airlines. It sounds like there's going to be a buyout of some sort, and we'll figure that out here in a few. Then we also have some stuff that happened last night over there in Virginia. Virginia voters approve redistricting amendment. Quote, major victory for Democrats.
Bruh.
Let me ask you a question. You don't need to do much in Virginia to keep it a major victory for Democrats. That's what it's just, I don't know. I'm not really sure why they needed to redistrict. Truth be told, that whole state is Democrats. So I'm not really sure how that is a major win. Nonetheless, we're going to move on. We have on pause, it says Trump extends Iran truce, but is it really a ceasefire? And that's the question that is going to be asked during this live stream. And then, of course, 3 hours ago, we had some very, very interesting developments that happened into the regards of Iran. At least 2 ships attacked in the Strait of Hormuz amid U.S.-Iran ceasefire extension. It says Iran has attacked 3 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I'm not really sure why it says on the title at least 2, because the actual report that I've been seeing is 3. And so they corrected it right here, saying Iran has attacked 3 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. This comes after President Trump extended the U.S.-Iran ceasefire as talks led by Vice President J.D. Vance and Iranian delegation are set to be held today in Pakistan. So, yes, the delegation's actually supposed to happen today in Pakistan. And then in the regards of this FBI probe, just an hour ago, missing scientists, it says. FBI probes 11 missing or dead nuclear scientists. What in the fuck? It says the FBI is now investigating after nearly a dozen U.S. scientists with ties to nuclear and space research have died or gone missing over the past 4 years, prompting calls for answers. Wow. A lot of shit going on here. And then our very final one here, just coming out 40 minutes ago, is the Middle East war, right? Trump gives Iran a new deadline. So there is our deadline. Originally, like I just stated, there really wasn't a deadline, what we heard, as of last night. So maybe that there is some sort of, like, we figured out the timeline now. So I don't know. We're going to, obviously figure that out together. Real quick before we get into it, let's do our call to actions. We have a big morning ahead of us, as you guys already know. Make sure you guys hit that like button and double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. And it's free to do so. Also hitting that subscribe button if you guys are new here. Make sure you guys do that. It's absolutely free to do so. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then Saturday morning for members only. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. A little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. Also, we have a Discord server for all of you legends where we continue the conversation after our hour-long show. So make sure you guys go in the video description down below of any live video that we're doing. We have the invite link for you guys for the Discord. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, by the way, we have these platforms here scrolling around the screen, and anytime you guys can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds, as well as I will read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a super chat. All right, great to see everyone in the building, man. Always appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We got Brother Steve Easy as well as Naomi in the building. Always appreciate you guys. We got Brother Roland, which is Dean. Always appreciate you. We got Gary as well as Desert Outlaw. And Huggy, good morning to you guys. Always appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We got Carney Vanguard as well. Shout out to my man. We got AU as well. Are you in Virginia? No, I am in northern Alabama, to answer that question. Didn't grow up here, but I have now moved here. We got Rabbit F Chaos. Great to see you in the chat as well. Good morning to you. We got Virginia Chaos as well. And we're scrolling our way down as fast as humanly possible because I'm trying not to skip anybody here. We got Papa Penguin as well. Always appreciate you as well. Good morning, good morning. We got STMC Perez as well. Thank you for hanging out with us. We got Mr. Dylan Patterson. Yes, sir. And Al Patterson. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. All right, we're going to get right into it, guys. We got a lot to get through this morning, obviously. So let's go ahead and bring this up. And we're going to start off first with this whole Democratic Representative Sheila McCormick of Florida resigns amid ethics probe.
We're going to continue to monitor that. However, we did want to break into that programming with some breaking news right here. We did want to share with you this breaking news as Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick has now announced that she is resigning amid a congressional probe. She shared this statement just now on social media, stating, quote, "This was not a fair process. The Ethics Committee refused my new attorney's reasonable request for time to prepare my defense."
Well, in any time that you're being accused of something, I do think that you should be given adequate time to go ahead and defend yourself.
By going forward with...
But I don't know the numbers of each side, whether, the actual House's side, how long they gave that, or they said you need to immediately be able to defend yourself. And I don't know how long Sheila was asking for with her lawyer. I don't know if she's asking for 3 months or something. I don't know.
While a criminal indictment is pending, the committee prevented me from defending myself. I will not stand by and pretend that this has been anything other than a witch hunt. I simply cannot stand by and allow my due process rights to be trampled on and my good name to be tarnished. Rather than play these political games, I choose to step away so that I can devote my time to fighting for my neighbors in Florida's 20th district. I hereby resign from the 119th Congress effective immediately.
Damn.
But let me say this plainly. We should be very careful about the precedent we are setting. In this country, we do not punish people before due process is complete. We do not allow allegations alone to override the will of the people. That is a dangerous...
But allegations override the will of the people all day, every day in politics. I mean, people agree and trust these people on a lot of things when all they do is fucking lie until they're the ones backed up into a corner. And now that, hey, we should be doing it this way. Well, you haven't been doing it that way this whole time, so what the fuck?
Path, and one that should concern every American, regardless of party. To my constituents...
What's up, Miss Lotus? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
It has been the honor of my life fighting for you in the U.S. House of Representatives.
What's up, GEG?
Thank
Good morning.
you for standing with me and fighting alongside me. This fight is far from over.
So far, so good, Naomi.
That statement that we have taken there in full, this is from Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick, who has announced that she is resigning from Congress effective immediately. I also did want to share this live look right here as we continue to share this breaking news. This is a live look inside what was going to be the Health Ethics Committee sanctions hearing, taking a look into those allegations. We were going to hear testimony from Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick as she was...
Now, I'm going to be honest. These ethic committees and stuff like that, they're all bullshit, just so you guys know. It's like, okay, for instance, having an ethic committee is like the exact same... concept of having HR at a company and saying that HR is unbiased with you. Like, hey, they're the mediator between the company and the employee. No. They work for the company and they will always side with the company. That's just the way it is. So anyways, when it comes down to the ethics committees and stuff like that in politics and all of it, it's all bullshit. It's all political theater. And that's something that I just wanted to announce. We don't need to listen or hear anything in this whole thing, to be quite honest. We don't need to hear any of this bullshit because it is exactly that. It's going to be a whole bunch of bullshit. So we're going to move on from this. All right. So we got Trump announced a ceasefire extension with Iran. This happened yesterday, as you guys know. Let's go ahead and bring it up. We'll quickly discuss it. Also, we haven't done the money part. Let's go ahead and do the money part real quick.
All right, just get the money part done.
and it fucked up. Now, let me go ahead and do this, swap it over, and then
beat yourself up.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Now, that happens once in a while on when you're doing the Mars streaming, meaning that means you're streaming from vertical and horizontal. You're doing both at the same time. For some reason, videos do glitch out once in a while. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll get into this announcement of the ceasefire extension that happened yesterday.
Now, we do want to bring you some breaking news here.
Why is she so low?
From Fox. If you take a look at your screen, this statement coming moments ago from President Trump on Truth Social, saying, based on the fact that the government of Iran is seriously fractured, not
true, Steve Posey. Very, very true. Embrace thy fuck up.
Unexpectedly so, and upon the request of the Field Marshal and Prime Minister of Pakistan, we have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as their leaders and representatives can come up.
You know, I recently just saw that, Steve Easy. I saw it yesterday, I think, last night when I was laying down. And I couldn't help but just chuckle. You know what I mean? Just kind of one of those laughs or whatever. And then you just move on because it's like, it's whatever. Fucking whatever. It's just these morons out here.
With a unified proposal, I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and in all other respects remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted.
Until such time their proposal is submitted. So it's kind of indefinite, and that's what I was getting at earlier. I guess this morning Trump did actually put out a quote-unquote timeline. So we'll see what that timeline is. And Virginia Chaos says, I got you tomorrow, brother. This week, been poor white boy. Hey, listen, you're speaking my language 7 days a week. Gotta love it, bro. Always appreciate you, by the way. And there is never any obligations also.
And discussions are concluded one way or the other. That's signed President Donald J. Trump. This, of course, comes as that ceasefire with Iran was set to expire on Wednesday. This is a big story that we will continue tracking for you here on Live Now from Fox. Come back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Anna Marsick. If you are just joining us, we are...
Now, I can appreciate that, VC, big time. If you prioritize me over hookers and blow, well, let me tell you, I must be somewhat important. I must be some guy, you know? Appreciate that, VC. We got Naomi coming in with the $5 saying, love and respect, Mike and IWF. Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for the $5. And sorry that was so loud because that lady, for some reason, is super low and I had to crank my my soundboard, so feels ultra bad. But thank you for the $5, Naomi. Definitely goes a long way. And thank you for showing so much love to the channel and myself.
Following some breaking news, this statement coming from the White House saying, based on the fact that the government of Iran is seriously fractured, not unexpectedly so, and upon the request of the Field Marshal and Prime Minister of Pakistan, we have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until...
What's up, Carrie? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Such time as their leaders and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and, in all other respects, remain ready and able, and will therefore extend...
What's up, Anthony? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
Until such time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or the other. That's signed President Donald J. Trump. Once again, that breaking news just coming in moments ago. And right now we are waiting for an event to get underway at the White House where President Donald Trump is going to host more than 100 collegiate champions from different sports and universities to celebrate.
Yes, and I did see this happen yesterday, and we're not really going to be... well, I didn't actually watch it completely or nothing, but I did see that they were live doing it, and I'm like, yeah, we don't need to watch that. All right, so Kash Patel responds to drinking allegations as well as clashes with reporters. He came out and had this, I guess, press conference, but it really wasn't about Kash Patel and his drinking thing. It really had to do with an announcement of federal fraud charges against Southern Poverty Law Center. So we have all of that for you guys here. Let's first go into the Kash Patel response to drinking allegations. And I guess he also clashes with reporters. So let's go ahead and bring that up. We'll quickly discuss it. Excuse me.
Hal, I do want to give you an opportunity to respond directly to the allegations in the Atlantic article that your unexplained absences created a national security risk. And beyond that, can you say definitively that you have not been intoxicated or absent during your tenure as FBI director?
I can say unequivocally that I never listen to the fake news mafia. And as when they get louder, it just means I'm doing my job. This FBI director has been on the job twice as many days as every director before me. What that means is I've taken half as many days off as those before me. What that means is I've taken a third less vacation than those before me. What that means is that
What that means is you throw your girlfriend onto a fucking plane that is, you know, being funded by the taxpayer or whatever. Let's go and, go on some lavish trips there, Mr. Kash Patel.
FBI with this Department of Justice has dropped the murder rate 20 points.
What's up, Chad with Stacks? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
What that means is this FBI with this Department of Justice has captured 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world, twice as many as the Biden administration did in its entire 4 years. What that means is this FBI has seized enough fentanyl off the streets to kill 178 million Americans, a 31% increase. What that means is this FBI and this DOJ has arrested 43% more spies in 14 months than the entirety of the Biden administration. What that means is this FBI has seen a reduction in opiate overdose deaths up to 20% alone. What that means is that we have found 6,300 child victims, 6,300 families have their kids back. That is a 22% increase from the Biden administration. I'm on the job. I'm the first one in. I'm the last one out. I'm like an everyday American who loves his country, loves the sport of hockey, and champions my friends when they raise a gold medal and invite me in to celebrate. I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a 250.
You've never been intoxicated on the job? Shit, what man has not been intoxicated on the job? I think every man's been intoxicated one time on the job. One time.
$50 million defamation lawsuit, and any one of you that wants to participate, bring it on. I'll see you in court.
Explain the computer login issue. Just explain the computer login issue. You were not able to log into your lawsuit contends that you were not able to log into the system. What did you think after you were unable to log into the system?
Let's have a survey. How many of you people
What's up, Dragon Classy? Great to see you in the chat. It's been a minute. Hopefully you're enjoying your Whip 'em Out Wednesday.
believe that's true? Hang on.
Did you communicate
You
with
asked the question. Let me answer it.
No, let me
No.
Did you communicate with anyone that you thought you were fired after you were unable to log into
The problem with you and your report, don't cut me off. You asked the question.
Straightforward question.
The problem with you and your baseless reporting is that is an absolute lie. It was never said.
Hey, you know what? Let me join in, Huggy. You know what I mean? Let me join in a little bit. Let's go ahead and open up this little case. What has this beautiful case got for us today? Let's go ahead and just grab one of these little bad boys. Here's to Kash Patel, you know. Embrace your fuck-ups, homie. That's what I got to say. Just embrace your fuck-ups. Take your little puff of your little counterclockwise tobacco. Take a little sippy sip of that drink and embrace.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace that process. All right, back to this.
It never happened, and I will serve in this administration as long as the president and the attorney general want me to do so. And every time you guys report false lies, every time you guys raise baseless questions, when we are here to talk about the
KP knows the deal.
Southern Poverty Law Center's $3 million decade-long scheme to fraudulently fleece Americans, you are off topic.
Straightforward question. Did you talk to anybody about whether you thought
The
you were
simple
fired?
answer to your question is you are lying, and every time you do so, I've answered your question. It's simply as follows. I was never locked out of my...
So this guy that's going apeshit asking the questions, by the way, he may even get pulled out, you know, after the whole conference here, and they'll be like, yeah, you're not welcome back here, by the way. That kind of shit does happen a lot with journalism and stuff like that. We got Brother Sold Out coming in with the $10 saying I'm embarrassed. Yo! I am too. Thank you very much for the $9.99. I very much appreciate that. Definitely goes a long way. Making it rain in the chat, my man. Thank you very much for that.
Systems. Anybody who says
your
it,
lawsuit says the opposite. Your lawsuit contests
anyone that says the
your
opposite is lying.
The lawsuit
Thank you.
that you filed says that directly.
Man, stop.
This guy is like, hold on, stop. This motherfucker talking all this shit. You know what I mean, Steve Easy? Yeah, we know exactly what these people are on.
Man, motherfucker talk.
I did it again. Hold on, let me see if I can refix it. Embrace that fuck
Beat
up.
yourself.
Man, motherfucker talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Now that is actual factuals. You know what I mean? Feels good to be a G. All right, back to this.
You're being extraordinarily rude. And I know maybe that's part of your profession, but please just stop. If you ask
Just
a question,
stop.
he can answer it. And then, wait, now you're
Jimmy
interrupting
Mac.
me. Like, just a little bit of respect, man. Just a tiny little bit. Try it sometime.
Try it sometime, motherfucker. Shit. Then they just ended it right there. So we're about to get into that exact, that actual press conference. So I've got it right here. Let's bring it up. And it really wasn't about Kash Patel. It was about, they're announcing a federal fraud charges that against Southern Poverty Law Center, I suppose. So let's go ahead and bring this up. We're not going to play the whole thing. We don't need to hear the cope and the bullshit necessarily. But we will get a little bit of what is going on here. So let's go ahead and just start off with the opening monologue, and then we'll get what we need from this whole thing, and we'll move on.
In total, according to the indictment, between 2014 and
What's up, Finding Dory? Good morning to you. Happy Whip 'em Out Wednesday, by the way.
2023, SPLC paid at least $3 million to 8 individuals at least. These individuals were affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, United
shit.
Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations Affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, the Nationalist Social...
What kind of motorcycle club? What? What was that? What kind of motorcycle club you call out?
United Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations Affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club,
What the
the
fuck,
Nationalist
yo?
Socialist Party of America, Nazis, and the American Front. Now, as the indictment lays out, after SPLC paid members of these extremist groups, it
What up,
created
Dragon?
work product that reported on these activities that the members participated in or contributed to. And to that end, it was doing the exact opposite of what it's told its donors it was doing. Not dismantling extremism, but funding it. To carry out this...
I just got to point out that we have one of the best names in the chat right now. Look at that. Cranky Mullet. Yo, that is a A1 name, bro. You're out of control out here. Great to see you.
scheme, SPLC created bank accounts in the name of at least 5 completely fictitious organizations that had no bona fide employees or legitimate business purpose. The money was passed from SPLC to one sham account to a second sham account and then loaded onto prepaid cards to give to the members of the extremist groups. This was designed to shield the source of those funds, and because of this, SPLC is also charged with one count, as I said earlier, of conspiracy to commit money laundering. In conclusion, I want to thank the acting U.S.
Okay, this motherfucker is really slow talking, okay? We're going to play this. We're going to bring up the speed a little bit. 1.25, okay?
Attorney in the Middle District of Alabama, Kevin Davidson,
Alabama.
who's in his
Roll
district
Tide.
right now and not able to be with us, for bringing this important case, along with the FBI team in Alabama for their hard work during this investigation. This investigation is ongoing, and I'd like to ask Director Patel to say a few words as well.
Yes, make sure you guys hit the like button so that I can eat a big-ass sandwich. Yes, absolutely. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Thank you very much for that. Let's get it up.
Thank you, General Blanche. What we're here today is to announce what the General just told you. The Southern Poverty Law Center, in a massive, sweeping indictment, has been charged with allegations of fraud and using the banking system to perpetrate that fraud.
So how much money is happened during this said fraud case?
I want to talk about a couple of brief things here. The Southern Poverty Law Center themselves advertise to raise money to dismantle violent extremist groups for a period of at least a decade. They use their donor network to raise money to purportedly dismantle violent extremist groups. However, the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, used the money they raised from their donor network to actually pay the leadership of these very groups. I just want to say that again. They used the fraudulently raised money by lying to their donor network, thousands of Americans, to go ahead and actually pay the leadership of these supposed violent.
Oh, that's awesome, Naomi. Yeah, always appreciate you.
Extremist groups. The groups, as the general laid out, include the Ku Klux Klan, the United Klans of America, Unite to Right, National Alliance, the National Socialist Movement, the Aryan Nation Motorcycle Club, and the National Socialist Party of America, and also the American Front. In at least one of these matters, our investigation revealed that funds were used to facilitate the commission of further state and federal offenses, totaling over $3 million. Furthermore, our investigation revealed that the Southern Poverty Law Center, on top of perpetuating this widespread, decade-long, multi-million-dollar fraud, conducted more criminal activity. They attempted to hide their criminal activity from our financial banking network. They set up shell companies and entities around America so that the financial institutions that we rely on as everyday Americans were deceived in believing that money was not coming from the Southern Poverty Law Center in the perpetration of this scheme and fraud, but rather fictitious entities they stood up to perpetuate.
You know, I guess so, Jimmy Mack. I didn't even know about that. As soon as he started saying it, I'm like, what motorcycle club? Like, what?
This ongoing fraud. This is a serious and egregious violation of a group that purported to dismantle violent extremist groups, but in turn actually only fueled the hatred. This is an important case brought by President Trump's administration. We're thankful for the president for his leadership and funding of not just the FBI and DOJ, but his commitment to go out there and wipe out fraud and conspiracy and waste and abuse wherever it occurs, including the Southern Poverty Law Center. Even though this money was made to appear to be coming from legitimate people and legitimate entities, we at the FBI, with our great partners at the Department of Justice and in the state of Alabama, were able to comb through a decade worth of material, a scheme that took a decade to build, so that we were able to follow the money, because money never lies, and they got caught. As the Attorney General said, these charges are varying, they are widespread and wide-ranging, and this investigation is very much ongoing. Today we're here to announce that
the one thing that they didn't do is tell us how much money is being, quote-unquote, in fraud, right?
Charges of the Southern Poverty Law Center, and this investigation and the individuals who are responsible will be brought to justice. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Director Patel. With any questions?
All right, so this is where they go into their question or ordeal from here. This is all I really wanted to get was the front monologue of this whole thing. We already showed the clash that happened with one of the reporters asking questions. We already showed that, so we don't need to necessarily go back and listen to all of that. So we're going to move on. President Trump extends Iran ceasefire as well as blockade. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss it as well. We'll discuss what's happening with the blockade.
When the day started, the ceasefire deadline...
Now, this is from yesterday, by the way. This is yesterday post.
And was fast.
We're getting our way into current times today. We've got like 3 or 4 stories until we're on today. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stories still to get through.
Approaching with the U.S. and Iran. And really, markets today were under pressure as investors continued to look at, okay, will this be extended or will we see the U.S. going back into war with Iran? And then moments after the market ended for the day, the bell was ringing. We got this post.
That's definitely interesting there, Gary, for sure.
By the president on Truth Social, also on the White.
And we've already seen and reported this right here, based on the fact of that the government of Iran is seriously fractured, not unexpectedly so, and upon the request of Field Marshal Asim Munir and Prime Minister of Pakistan, we have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as their leaders and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and, in all other respects, remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted and decisions are concluded one way or the other. Now, this is yesterday when there really wasn't a timeline on this. It was just this. It looks like this morning we actually got somewhat of a timeline. It sounds like Trump did come out this morning discussing some sort of timeline. So, well, anyways, just take it with a grain of salt. That's what's happening.
Account saying, based on the fact that the government of Iran is seriously fractured, not unexpectedly so, and upon the request there of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, we have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as their leaders and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade. And
yeah, Jimmy Mac, I'm not even trying. I tried. A manure.
all other respects remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until such time as the proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or the other there, and signed by the president. So let's continue to break down this big news that happened this afternoon. Let's bring in a friend here.
We don't need to hear from him, honestly. Let's see if we get any other images that we haven't seen, and or any posts from any governmental official.
And these are really critical, resources for Iran. And at the same time, we have this blockade that's really starting to take an impact on Iran and on its psyche. You know, you have ships being seized, interdicted, and
yes, and there was 3 ships actually this morning. 3 ships were attacked in the Strait of Hormuz amid the U.S.-Iran ceasefire extension. So that did happen from Iran's standpoint, actually. So
the Iranians are not happy about it. So we're at a very fragile moment in this ceasefire, which has been extended, and which the Iranians are saying in public statements since it was announced is invalid because the U.S. blockade, they say, is an act of war. The U.S. has said that Iran is violating the ceasefire through its activities. So you have both sides blaming the other side for violations of the ceasefire, but not a resumption of the U.S. bombings and the Israeli bombings of Iran, not a resumption on the Iranian attacks throughout the region. So sort of, a stay tuned moment for the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. So they're all responding. All the governmental officials are just basically just giving small replies here. We got Phil Stewart that's coming out and saying, see these alerts from an Iranian official hitting the Reuters wire. Trump's ceasefire extension means nothing. The losing side cannot dictate terms. Advisor to Iran's parliament speaker, continuation of the blockade is no different from bombardment and must be met with a military response. Advisor to Iran's parliament speaker, Trump's ceasefire extension is certainly a ploy to buy time for a surprise strike. Iran must take initiative. Advisor to Iran's parliament speaker. Wow. All right, so let's go ahead and move on here. Get into, we're going to start getting our way into this morning. But still, this is from yesterday. So as you guys know about the ceasefire extension, Trump directs U.S. military to remain ready. We already know that. Now, let me see if there's any images in here before I even pull it up for you guys. There may not be adequate images for us to even play this. No, there isn't. So we're going to move on. Trump supports Spirit Airlines buyout, doesn't like United American merger. So kind of some crazy shit going on with some airlines here. Looks like Spirit in particular. Let's see what's happening.
Let's talk some transportation news as Congress now raising concerns over a potential merger between United and American Airlines. In a letter to both CEOs, senators from both parties warn a deal this big could raise serious antitrust issues and drive up prices.
I got you, Steve.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Facts. Big facts, by the way. Great to see Chrono in the chat, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your Whip 'em Out Wednesday. Definitely know that we are so far.
By cutting back competition.
Let's get the likes up, everybody.
Let's go out to Houston, Texas. That is where we find Fox News' Sarah Legray joining us here with this breakdown. Sarah?
No, Jimmy Mac, I didn't see that.
Hey
Not
there,
surprising,
Mike.
though.
We want to look at history to understand the present, right? And so we can look back to the early 2000s to give us an idea. That's when we saw that huge consolidation amongst the airline industry, a series of mergers that shrank it quite a bit. And that's how we got the big four. I mean, United, American, Southwest as well. And so Delta is another one in the mix. And that's why we're hearing from lawmakers basically saying, as you said, Mike, it's going to cut back on the competition here. We're going to see less competition, and in doing so, maybe some more harm than good when we're looking
Yeah, less competition's not necessarily good, okay? You want more competition so prices come down.
At the airline industry as a whole. And so that's where that letter comes in. We have Democratic Senator
So they're probably going to be worried about the monopoly of airlines.
Elizabeth Warren joining hands with Republican Senator Mike Lee with that letter to both CEOs, warning of the negative impacts. And they're talking things like high prices for travelers, fewer jobs for pilots and flight attendants, and more pressure on those smaller airlines trying to compete for gate space and routes, especially at major hubs like Chicago O'Hare and Dallas-Fort Worth. And Mike, this all comes after reports United CEO discussed a possible deal back in late February, even looking for President Trump's blessing. But one aviation expert tells me this may be more talk than reality.
We've run the table in terms of what you could have for mergers. Trying to put airlines together is very expensive. Airlines that big, you have no idea the amount of work it would be. Plus, just getting it through Congress would be impossible. Most of us can go back to sleep, have cigarettes, smoke them if you got them, but don't worry too much
smoke them if you got them, cuh.
About this merger because it's not coming down.
He said it is not coming down. Damn.
And American Airlines, responding Friday saying, hey, we're not interested, adding, while changes in the broader airline marketplace may be necessary, a combination with United would be negative for competition and for consumers and would be inconsistent with our understanding of the Trump administration's philosophy toward the industry and principles of antitrust law. Meanwhile, the Association of Flight Attendants sent me this statement saying clearly all across corporate America, it's known that it's open season for consolidation. While we believe this is mostly bluster, we'll watch this very closely and take action if needed. We also reached out to United for better perspective on their end, not only on the potential talks of merger, but also the letter that Congress sent them earlier this week, just yesterday. They declined to comment at the time, but we do know President Trump.
Yes, and thank you very much for that, Cameron. I very much appreciate it.
In an interview this morning, talked about it. He basically said, hey, both American Airlines and United, they're doing well on their own. They're standing well on their own. At this point, he doesn't see the need or like the potential of a merger in the first place. Mike, back to you.
Yeah, I think to Sarah, too, the issue...
Man, she killed that report. I'm not going to lie. She absolutely slayed that shit. All right, let's see if we get any other images. We do have some other images here. Let's go ahead and see what they're pulling up here.
Troubles with fuel shortages. Let's listen in.
Here's another report.
May be numbered. The airline is reportedly out of cash, and it's facing a liquidation that could come in just a few days. Spirit, based in Florida, has been struggling to emerge from its second bankruptcy in less than a year. And if it goes under, experts say travelers will likely be left to fend for themselves, even if they already paid for their...
You see all those canceled trips? Damn, bro. I would be so pissed.
Goes under. Experts say travelers will likely be left to fend for themselves.
Right here, look at all that. Canceled, 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 canceled. Jesus. I mean, just unreal cancellations.
Even if they already paid for their tickets.
They're going to be focused on their creditors, trying to, give back as much money as they can there. Consumers, unfortunately, fall towards the bottom end of the priority chain in a liquidation event.
It's also likely that Spirit's liquidation would lead other airlines to raise their ticket prices.
That typically does not bode well for the overall prices. It means less competition.
I have a question for this guy.
Why are you gay?
Just a question, chat. Just a question.
And it could come at a worse time. Major airlines are cutting routes because of surging fuel prices. Air Canada says it's pausing flights to New York City, and Delta is dropping multiple summer destinations. World aviation leaders blaming the conflict in Iran.
Yeah, Chrono, imagine being one-legged every time I go through TSA. Every time I go through, now mind you, they can't force me to take my leg off, but they always put me in secondary every single fucking time. So then they put me in secondary, they go and they get the bomb swab, they go out there and swab my leg up to make sure I don't have any explosives on there. They do the whole pat down, they do the wand and all that shit, and then I finally am able to get cleared. So every single time I go through TSA, it's definitely an ordeal.
A return to permanent freedom of navigation, the consequences will be catastrophic.
But Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the price hikes are only temporary and they'll end when the fighting stops.
Yes, a small disruption, hopefully for a short period of time, but in the long run, it becomes cheaper for Americans to travel.
Spirit is reportedly looking for an...
Oh, yeah, Chrono, I know what you're getting at in that kind of regard. Yes, there are some times that it's actually better to physically see the ailment of somebody rather than trying to explain something that is quote unquote invisible to them. It's inside you, right? So yeah, no, I get your perspective on that.
Emergency bailout from the White House. Top executives are expected to speak with
Man, I only get half off on pedicures, and that's actually a fact. I'm not just saying that to be funny. I actually do get half off on pedicures. Feels ultra good to be a G. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next story here. We're going to be talking about Virginia. Virginia voters approve redistricting amendment, quote, major victory for Democrats. Now, the question that I bear in this whole thing is Virginia is basically an entirely Democrat state. I mean, majority, heavy majority is liberal, right? So I'm not really sure how this is going to help anybody, on the, I mean, you're already winning, right? So how is it another major win for Democrats? You're already a Democrat-ran state.
Welcome back in Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Some breaking news as we take a live look at Fredericksburg, Virginia. Democrats scoring a major victory today as a congressional redistricting referendum that could give Democrats a significant boost in the battle for the House of Representatives majority in this year's midterm elections was passed by Virginia voters. The AP confirmed at 8:49 Eastern Time that the vote or that the race had been called. The ballot measure is giving the Democrat-controlled Virginia legislature, rather than the state's current nonpartisan commission, temporary redistricting power through the 2030 election.
Why?
It could result in a 10-to-1 advantage for Democrats in Virginia's congressional delegation. That would be up from their current 6-to-5 edge. That would give the Democrats 4 additional left-leaning U.S. House seats ahead of the midterms as the party tries to win back control of the chamber from the GOP, which currently holds.
That's all the whole game, the name of the game. Trying to get a majority inside of whether it be the House or the Senate.
A razor-thin majority. A live look at Capitol Hill, approaching 9:30 in the nation's capital. We talk so often here on Live Now about the razor-thin margins in the House, and we've talked ad nauseum about a number of states who have had...
They're literally on fire, Pablo? What's going on over there?
...similar votes to try and boost either Democratic seats or GOP-led seats. This referendum is capping months of political crossfire and court battles, sky-high early voting turnout, and tons of national attention and money that has been pouring into the ballot box showdown, again, all in the state of Virginia. Thankfully, we have here with us Tom LoBianco of 24 Site News.
We really don't need to hear him get into why this is happening necessarily. We already know why and what the motive is, right? So here's the actual vote. The yes votes and the no votes. Look at that for the special election. Democratic-led legislature proposed new congressional districts. And so 51% said yes, 1.5 million, and then no was 1.44 million. Wow.
Just a wipeout, all right?
And it says estimated 93% of the votes have been counted so far on this. And they're already calling yes a win on the yes.
The Democrats wiped out Republicans, huge gains in Virginia and New Jersey. And in the past, those types of elections tend to be like a pressure release valve. All right. And what happened here is I'm looking at the numbers. I'm trying to get a sense of, all right, do we have an idea of what is the turnout? What's the level of enthusiasm? You hear a lot of talk about that.
Yes, make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Thank you guys for, you don't have to like all this craziness, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here.
Going into November, who's enthusiastic about showing up, all right? So the early results, I'm looking at the New York Times, the AP, 95% of votes in, was it like 1.5 million yes, 1.45 no, so was that like 2.9 something, 2.95 turnout? That's actually not down that much. Let's look at the 3.4 million votes cast just 6 months ago. That's not a major drop because you would not expect.
Yeah, totally interesting, but we don't need to have you whine over the top of it forever talking about it. So we're going to move on. At least we know that's happening. We're getting into last night, okay? This is about 11 o'clock at night, my time last night. It says, on pause, Trump extends Iran truce, but is it really a ceasefire is the question. So let's go ahead and see if we get any valid updates on this. If we don't, and it's just somebody giving some type of speculative, theories or whatever the case, we're just going to move on. We're just going to make sure that if there's any big governmental official posts or anything like that, we're going to go ahead and listen to it. It looks like Hal Kempfer's on this, so he always comes in with banger information. So let's
bring in retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with us. And Hal, we were just listening into Amalia's reporting, so let's start with oil. Is there anything that you're seeing in the Strait of Hormuz that indicates to you that there could be some sort of indicators as to what direction oil prices might be moving in.
Well, might be moving in can change hour to hour. It could be moving into this direction, but then an hour later it move into the opposite direction. Both can be true at the same time.
Well, Austin, what you could say is that part of the decision to extend the ceasefire, albeit not the stated one, was to keep the price of oil down. What it does is it doesn't reignite a full-blown conflict in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. It kind of maintains the
What's up, Stephanie? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Happy Whip 'em Out Wednesday.
status quo. We have seen oil prices start to stabilize and come down with at least the stated ceasefire, although one can debate whether it's really a genuine ceasefire or just a cessation of certain types of fires that's taken place. But as long as that's there, it opens up the time schedule to reopen some of the lanes in the strait so that we can, have ships go back and forth through certain lanes. We're starting to get international buy-in. Japan, for example, legally needs to be a stated ceasefire in place in order to put their ships into the strait to support mine clear.
Hey, I very much appreciate the recognition there, Cameron. Yeah, a lot of people have let me know the reason why they enjoy watching me is because I skip through the bullshit. I know when it's time that there's bullshit, and I'm willing to say, hey, this is bullshit, everybody, and we're going to move on. But I appreciate you recognizing that because we definitely do a good job not wasting people's time here,
Clearing operations and things like that. And then, of course, politically, the European nations would want to have at least a stated ceasefire before they put their ships into harm's way.
Yes, Chrono, there's been 3. So to answer that, it's not 2 ships, but 3 ships. And from the Iran's perspective, not our side, from their side. We're going to get into that here actually in the very, very next story here I've got lined up. It says at least 2 ships attacked in Strait of Hormuz amid U.S.-Iran ceasefire extension, but it's actually 3. Iran has attacked 3 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. This comes after President Donald Trump extended the U.S.-Iran ceasefire as talks led by Vice President J.D. Vance. Anyways, back to this.
But what that does is it allows more forces to go in there. These are forces that can intercept IRGC, Revolutionary Guard Corps, gunboats, fast boats, any drones, any ballistic missiles, any cruise missiles, whatever, along with the fact that these are lanes that have been checked for mines. So it opens up, it gives that valuable time needed to move assets, but also to open up.
It's so funny, Gary. My dad says that to me all the fucking time. I mean, since I was a little kid. You can't bullshit
those lanes and potentially open up the Strait of Hormuz to get more fuel out, to put more deflationary or price-lowering pressure on not just oil, but also liquefied natural gas, fertilizer, some other things.
A live look at sort of a depiction of what the Strait's traffic looks like, marine traffic, bringing us this representation. All eyes continue to be on the Strait for a variety of reasons, Hal, but we can't ignore the news of the day today. Also, President Trump earlier today posting this on social media. Let's go through it. Based on the fact the government of Iran is seriously fractured, not expectedly so, and upon the request of Pakistan.
I already read this, so we're going to move on from this. See if there's any other posts from any official. If not, looks like there are. Wait, no, we've already seen that imaging. We've already seen that. We're going to continue on. Nope, there's nothing else. All right, now we're getting into this morning. Only a few hours ago, at least 3 ships is the answer, not 2. Were attacked in the Strait of Hormuz. So let's go ahead and bring that up, and we're going to quickly discuss that here right now. And before we do, we got Chrono gifting out 10 gifted memberships. Yo! Now that is a whale right there. I very much appreciate it, my man. It definitely goes a long way. Not only helping us over here on the channel, but you're helping 10 others in the Insane Wheels family, man. So thank you very much for your selflessness there.
Bringing us out to a live look at the radar system there at the Strait of Hormuz, courtesy of marine traffic. The Associated Press just coming down with this, that Iran's semi-official news agencies are now reporting that the paramilitary Revolutionary Guard has attacked a third ship in the Strait of Hormuz, throwing into question efforts to end the war.
Real quick, this is very true. Steve Easy's 100% right. You can be against this mess and still hope we win. That's a fact, by the way. Absolutely. And real quick, we got I'm a bit sometimes. I'm a bit C sometimes. Great to see you, by the way. Thank you for the $5. I very much appreciate you making it rain in the chat. I very much appreciate that. It goes a long way. Thank you guys for your support. Seriously. And also, Chrono said, want to make it some green before you end. Saw that the hour, well, coming up on the hour. Yes, sir. I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Those news outlets all reported the attack by the Guard on a vessel called the Euphoria. They said the vessel had become, quote, stranded on the Iranian coast without elaborating. The Guard has seized the other two ships that were attacked, according to Iranian state television, who separately reported that update. Also, U.S. forces have boarded an oil tanker previously sanctioned for smuggling Iranian crude oil in Asia, according to the Pentagon.
That's interesting.
And we are following this very closely. The tanker is the second vessel linked to Iran that has been intercepted by the U.S. military.
Yeah, I didn't know about that second tanker, to be honest.
Iranian foreign minister on Tuesday called the U.S. blockade a breach of the ceasefire and said, quote, striking a commercial vessel and taking its crew hostage is an even greater violation. A lot to keep up with this morning. Joining us next onto the program here to discuss all of this is Matthew Wiz Buckley, a retired Navy fighter pilot, Top Gun graduate, and founder of the No Fallen Heroes Foundation.
Wow. Very distinguished.
Wiz, good morning. Good to have you on.
Good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
We can actually hear him.
Divulged a lot of breaking news that happened. So very active, this situation here in the Strait. So I do want to start off with a question here. But before I do that, I just want to showcase one more time to our viewers because, Wiz, we are going to be asking some viewer questions here regarding all of these developments. For anyone that does want to submit your question, you can do so by scanning the QR code there on the top right-hand side of your screen or heading to livenowfox.com/connect. What questions do you have about the U.S. operations in Iran? And if you ask those questions, we will post them.
This is great, but I don't really need him to answer these questions. These are questions that we do all the time. I mean, we answer them here on this channel, exactly what they're going to be asking. I want to see the actual reports here. Well, I guess we only got the on the very front half of this, front quarter. In the first 2 minutes was the only information we were going to get out of that particular thing there. So let's go ahead and bring it up to right here.
Oval Office Saturday morning. Talk about a split screen. So I was in the Oval Office with the president Saturday morning for his executive order signing on psychedelic assisted therapy and veterans. And then
okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool and all, but I don't give a shit.
Is use this time to rearm, to rest, to do much needed maintenance on aircraft, and we're ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yeah, we've already said all of that. All right, we're moving on. I guess that's the small little report we're gonna get off of that. You know what I mean? Seymour Cannabis, yes sir. Cheers to you. Appreciate you. Make sure you guys double tap that screen, hit that like button if you guys are on the vertical side. On the horizontal, just hit that like. Very much appreciate it. All right, missing scientists. What is going on with this whole missing scientist bullshit? Which I really don't know the answer to my own question there. But FBI probes 11 missing or dead nuclear scientists. It says here the FBI is now investigating after nearly a dozen U.S. scientists with ties to nuclear and space research have died or gone missing over the past 4 years, prompting calls for answers. Yo, all right. Well, let's go ahead and bring this up. We're going to discuss it.
Thanks for staying with us here at Live Now from Fox. Turning our attention now to a story that we are following closely, and it's making national headlines right now. The Trump administration has directed federal agencies to investigate whether a series of deaths and disappearances among scientists with high-level security clearances are linked. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed the probe following reports that 11 individuals tied to sensitive military, nuclear, and aerospace research have been affected. A lot to discuss, so joining us next onto the program is Randy Sutton. He is a retired law...
Chrono, why don't you show up for the 4th of July IWF bash that we do every year? Well, we started the first annual last year, and so we're going to do it again, obviously, this year here on our property right here, the compound. So honestly, if you really want to get down for some barbecue and shit, 4th of July. We're going to have, we have people who come all over the United States, man. It's a great time.
Las Vegas police lieutenant and also founder of the Wounded Blue. Randy, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Randy, we were talking a little bit behind the scenes here. This story, quite fascinating. A lot of people are focused on this. I need to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, low-key, me too, Cameron.
So, 11 scientists working on high-level research with high-level clearance. What sticks out to you now that you know that the White House is launching an official probe?
This is a really interesting situation. I don't believe we've seen this quite literally ever before. What began as some internet chatter has now developed into a full-blown investigation by some of the largest federal agencies in the country. We're talking about.
See what happens? Shit, it's people's voices like yourself or like myself that, start asking questions. And now all of a sudden the government's like, well, shit, now we got to fucking do an investigation.
The FBI will be taking the lead, as it should.
What's up, Wildcard? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Happy Whip 'em Out Wednesday.
Other agencies will be involved. Department of Defense. There will be the Department of Energy. Any federal agency that has lost someone or that.
So I live in between Huntsville and Birmingham. So it takes me 45 minutes to get to Huntsville, and it takes me 45 minutes to get to Birmingham.
Someone has been connected to that has either been deceased. There are some that have been unsolved murders. Others have been tragic accidents that may or may not be accidents. And so they're going to be looking for any connection. And this is a big investigation. There's a lot of work to be done here and will require a lot of resources. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, over the time period that we're talking about, people will die. That's the natural way of things. And we don't want to be paranoid here, but it is, as a law enforcement professional, we really don't believe in coincidences. So this is something that needs to be looked at. And that means a fresh set of eyes on all these investigations.
Yeah, just letting you guys know, I'm just reading from what it says underneath his name right here. It says retired Las Vegas police lieutenant, by the way.
Bring up a social media post courtesy of Fox News. It includes a map of the last known locations of all of those scientists. House Oversight Chair James Comer telling Fox also there's a high possibility that something sinister is taking place here. So, when we look at this map, and we're going to bring it up here full, Randy, and we see that this has taken place across the country. There's not really a central location here that would offer that, I guess, really secure link that is possibly what's being looked at here as we follow this investigation. What sticks out to you possibly from the dates, the locations?
Well, the randomness here is what really sticks out to me. And, if you.
Man, they all did die somewhat recent. That's a lot of deaths within a very small time for very particular types of people.
Look at a large-scale investigation. Let's look at serial killers. How some serial killers literally have been able to go for decades without being discovered because of different locations. When you have different jurisdictions doing investigations, very often these investigations don't cross-reference because these agencies aren't talking to each other.
Yeah, that's right. I've got an
and
alibi.
in a situation like this, where you have multiple agencies in multiple locations all over the country, to put a pattern together.
I actually don't know the answer to that. Let me look it up real quick, Jimmy Mac.
Is really, really challenging. So this is going to be a very challenging investigation for the FBI and these other agencies.
When we also talk about the 11 scientists that we're discussing here, you mentioned something right off the top, which is that some of them are.
Okay, so it's saying it would take me 7 hours and 49 minutes of a drive to get to Columbus, Ohio. Right? Is this where this is? Yeah, Columbus, Ohio.
Dead at this time, as some were killed. Others are missing. What's the purpose of linking missing person cases with also deceased cases? What are these initial, I guess, links that would have investigators say all of this needs to be looked at together instead of separately?
Well, when you're talking about investigations of this nature, victimology is critical. That is, when I say victimology, that means that the investigators will have to go through the backgrounds of every single one of these. When I say go through the backgrounds, I don't mean do a cursory background check. I mean they have to dive deep into the past of all of these individuals and try to determine, is there a link between them? Did they all work on one project together? What possible a connection could there be?
Yeah, I was about to say, what's the inner link? Is there like someone they were working 4 in particular that is interlinked? What's going on here?
All of these men and women. And that's going to be a critical component to this investigation.
We were just showcasing there some of the photos of those scientists that are coming here into question. We had mentioned that they have a high security clearance, Randy. What does that mean initially? And also, when someone is issued a high security clearance, for example, what kind of security measures are taken, if any, to try to protect such individuals that know highly sensitive information?
Well, in reality, unless they are in really, really super secret stuff, there is nothing
Yeah, Chrono, that would be just about right. Yeah, because it does take me, I don't know, 2 hours to get to Montgomery, like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, something like that.
provide security for them. Many of these people, remember, they were no longer employed. They're retired people. So they would no longer be working actively. And of course, that throws another wrench into this investigation. Besides the geographical challenges, these are working for different agencies. I mean, it looks like what they really do have in common is their security clearances. But they need to look and see if there are any connections between one or more of these men and women. And then a fresh set of eyes will have to go on every single one of them. Remember, an investigation has already taken place here on each of these individuals, by local agencies, some by federal agencies. But all of these men and women who have security clearances, that means that major background investigations were done on them to begin with, and that didn't preclude them from continuing their work in the context that they were. So all of these men and women had clearances, and so their backgrounds have already been done in order to obtain those clearances, and they're updated. So they're going to be looking at all of the backgrounds of these men and women.
The White House has promised a transparent investigation, with Press Secretary Leavitt noting that, quote, no stone will be left unturned. And Randy, because there is so much interest in this case, it could be assumed that a lot of people are going to want answers, and quickly. They're going to want to know each step of this. But realistically, with a case this large, how much would the public be able to learn as it continues? And also, what would investigators be willing to divulge to get the public's help, possibly?
Well, they're not going to be divulging a lot of information to begin with. I can tell you that right now, nor should they. And as you said, this is a massive investigation. Look at the number of people involved. Look at the different locations. The resources that are going to have to be devoted to this are extremely challenging. They're going to have to choose which agencies are going to be playing the roles that they're going to be playing.
Yeah, I mean, this is not going to be an easy case for them to crack. I'm just going to be honest. All right, let's go and see if they have any other imaging on this. Doesn't look like they do. Let's just skip ahead a little bit here, see if we get anything different, and we have one more story to actually give you guys here in a minute.
Investigations treat it differently than, let's say, a normal person that would go missing.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you're looking at, this began as some internet chatter, right? And the theories, the conspiracy theories are multiple, and that's going to actually create some muddiness around the investigation, because the investigators are going to have to look at try and peel away the fact from the fiction, because there will be a lot of there'll be a lot of internet detectives working on this and probably giving information. And believe me, even in smaller investigations, when the internet's involved, it can be very challenging to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. But the local investigators that were participants in each of these separate investigations, all of the documentation, all of the investigative reports, all of the interviews with the investigators, this is a massive challenge.
What's up, Joseph? Up there in Canada, our favorite snow Mexican. Great to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying your beautiful Whip 'em Out Wednesday morning so far.
And there may be something to it, or unfortunately, the reality is that this may be a series of coincidences. And while that is going to be hard to swallow for a lot of people, they have to look at this, with a non-jaundiced eye, and try to determine what is the truth. And there may be some of these individuals. We have unsolved murders involved here. That's a good thing that there will be fresh eyes on these investigations, because those are the ones.
Yeah, it sounds like all these cases went cold or something. Or they just assumed that they just died. I don't know. I really, obviously, I couldn't tell you. It would be speculation to say anything else. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this up real quick. We're going to end off with this.
I do want to bring in Fleur Hassan Ahum.
Trump gives Iran new deadline. So this is the deadline I've been waiting to hear on this whole new extension of this ceasefire. So I want to know what the timeline is now.
She is Israel's special envoy for trade and innovation. Joining us live
just
here on
came
Live
out.
Now from Fox. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Christine.
I want to start with President Trump extending the ceasefire indefinitely. What does that actually signal? Is that a genuine effort to de-escalate or a pause to regroup?
Excuse me.
Well, I actually think it's very strategic because what President Trump has managed to do, and people don't give him enough credit, is he's flipped the dynamic. In the past, with other presidents and other governments and other world leaders, Iran always had time on their side. They kept pushing things, they kept lying, they kept negotiating, they kept getting to the edge until they would negotiate again. And what President Trump has done is flipped the script so that now time is not on their side because of the blockade of the Straits of Hormuz, which is their main way of bringing in any type of resources, any type of money. Their only economy is an energy export economy. That is what funds their terrorism. That is what funds their terrorist infrastructure. And what President Trump has done is basically blocked their only way of having an income. And so it's okay that President Trump wants to extend the ceasefire because the ceasefire right now and the blockade is only working against them.
Okay, they just put this little headline here. It says President Trump gives Iran, quote, 3 to 5 days for talks. So he's extended the 2-week ceasefire, essentially. Well, 10 days, whatever. And then extending it 3 to 5 days.
I also wanted to ask you this. If the U.S. is extending this ceasefire, why suspend Vice President J.D. Vance's trip to Pakistan? Does that suggest diplomacy might be stalling there behind the scenes?
Well, the Iranian regime didn't confirm that they were going to be going to Islamabad. So why would the vice president show up when there's a risk or there was actually a statement that they weren't showing up? That would be terrible. So ultimately, what's really happening is incredible. Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is still up a very tall tree, and they don't realize that they don't have a lot of cards left. And like I said, time is not on their side. And so President Trump can keep extending the ceasefire as long as he keeps the blockade. The Islamic Republic is really losing any leverage for any future negotiations.
Now, also of note here, Iran acknowledged the extension, but stopped short of committing to talks. How should we interpret Tehran's hesitation right now? I know we've touched on this a little bit here, but just diving a little bit deeper for our viewers.
Sure. Well, you know, what everybody's saying, what everybody's reporting is that nobody knows who exactly is in charge, or at least that the leadership there is split, that you have the IR.
Well, the IRGC or whatever, the way that they have themselves set up, it's already kind of a complex system. They're all kind of designed to be able to work. So if the head gets chopped off, all the others, basically kind of like the other states, they're going to be able to stand on their own. They kind of work differently. They watched the whole thing go down in Iraq, and they literally told themselves, we will never allow ourselves to be in that position. So anyways, nonetheless, it's already going to be hard to get a correct line of communication with Iran already without all the shit that we've already done. It's hard because to get them all on the same track is very difficult, and it does take time.
RGC, which is the military commanders, and most of them were eliminated by America and Israel. But whoever's left, they're the hardliners. And then you have some of the political leadership that is trying to find a way to keep the negotiations alive because they understand the position that the Islamic Republic is in. The hardliners, we don't know what's going on with them. We don't even know if Mustafa Khamenei, who's supposedly the supreme leader.
Hey, I very mumuch appreciate that, by the way. Yes, we do this Monday through Friday. We lay out the, world news, geopolitics, American news, American politics, shape-shifting of the world, anything the mainstream media is not willing to show or give factual information on. That's why we do what we do here Monday through Friday. And then members only, we don't discuss any of this shit. We try to have a good time. We laugh. We have a good time and enjoy our time, not necessarily try to be stressed out with all this shit.
We don't even know if he's alive. In the last 24 hours, I've reported he's dead, but they're trying to keep it quiet because that, again, brings down their leverage for the negotiations. So ultimately what we see, whatever way you want to look at this, is a weakening of the leadership of the Islamic Republic of Iran, a split.
Yes, we are 13 minutes over today, everybody. We're on our last story here, but make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Thank you guys for your laborious work.
Divide is also essentially a weakening, and if it is that the hardliners are in charge and they're still up this very tall tree, they're only going to end up being cut down from that tree by President Trump and this current strategy.
And continuing to talk about these talks, taking a live look there out of Pakistan this morning. So Pakistan set to host those negotiations. How significant is it that Iran...
And those negotiations are supposed to happen today, by the way. So we'll give you guys an update on all of that tomorrow.
...hasn't agreed to show up in Islamabad?
Well, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. I think, Pakistan is really trying to remain relevant, trying to remain an honest broker. I'm not, my personal opinion is they're not that honest. They have their own jihadi issues there. They have their own extremists, mixed history on how they dealt with those extremists. But if nobody's showing up, then really, what is their value as mediators at this point? It may change. We'll have to see.
And we've been talking about those attacks we've been seeing in the Strait of Hormuz. Once again, here's that live simulation of that map this morning. Seeing those attacks on commercial vessels there, how much does that undermine the credibility of this ceasefire?
Big time.
Well, from my understanding, the American fleet there is making sure that no Iranian Islamic Republic of Iran ships are getting through. They've got an...
Yes, that's true, but you didn't answer the question there.
Entire shadow fleet, because this is sanctioned oil. And so the Americans are doing the job of maintaining the blockade, which...
Yes, that's true. But what about the whole Iran, actually, shooting at 3 different cargo vessels? How about that part, though?
Strategically is the way to bring down the Islamic Republic to their knees for either future negotiations.
That wasn't her fucking question. Her question was, how is this... Dude, oh my God.
Or hopefully
I can't do
for
it.
their fall, because ultimately, I really don't believe you can make a deal with the devil. It's, it's like if after the Second World War, you started negotiating with the Nazis to see what they were going to keep. It's impossible. I pray for the people of Iran and for the peace of our region that this very poisonous regime that has been feeding terrorism, that has been feeding Islamic fundamentalism, not just in their country, in the region and around the world, that has caused so much death, so many deaths of Americans.
This chick loves to hear her own voice, huh?
A few moments later.
Of Israelis and of people all around the world. We pray here that they fall. And I believe that this is the right and very smart strategy that President Trump is doing.
And I wanted to share here with you this post. This is just coming in from Axios, and I just wanted to read it for our viewers. It says, President Trump is giving Iran's warring factions a short window to unify behind a coherent counteroffer, or the ceasefire he extended Tuesday ends. 3 U.S. officials sharing that, saying President Trump is willing to give another 3 to 5 days of ceasefire to allow the Iranians to get their expletive together. That's one U.S. source speaking on the matter. It's not going to be open-ended. What are your thoughts in response to that post here that is just coming in from Axios?
Is she going to even answer anything about Axios, or is she going to fucking talk about the blockade or some shit?
Well, I believe that, President Trump has always given the opportunity for negotiations, but he has also, when he's realized that they're not serious about negotiation, this has happened,
Oh my God, this chick. Listen, neither fucking side are serious, okay? Let's just leave it at that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for allowing me to do this Monday through Friday. And then, of course, members only on Saturday morning. So, listen, thank you guys for hitting that like button on the way in, the way out, whatever. It definitely goes a long way. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Listen, thank you all for being here. We're going to be back this evening, actually, for the Diamond Effect. As you guys know, it's a Whip 'em Out Wednesday. So we'll be back this evening, 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's about 8:10 Eastern for you guys over there on the East Coast. So anyways, I can't thank you guys enough. We'll be back, obviously, for more of the world's madness tomorrow morning, of course. But I believe we're going to be discussing on the Diamond Effect, basically what's going on with Iran, and as we've continued to watch all of this unfold. So anyways, much love to you all, and God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire.